Hi everyone, this is Rochelle Rizzi with Vrai, and today I'm here with Sara Gillespie, who is the co-founder of Patten. Sara has been a longtime colleague and friend. I actually met her as a counselor at my kids' school, and I wanted to bring her here because she has a true north story that I think a lot of people will resonate with. Sara, can you tell a little bit about yourself, a little background?
Sure. First of all, thanks so much for having me. It's good to see your face after a long break of not seeing you from COVID and being away from the school, but I'm really excited to be here. So thank you. I kind of have a varied history in terms of business and counseling. My parents were entrepreneurs, and I just kind of knew that lifestyle and understood it to some point, and I always found it to be interesting and kind of exciting. My dad passed away when I was in high school, and as a result of that, I kind of found a calling towards counseling, and I worked in a high school for many years, and then transitioned to elementary school and did some of that. And I took some time off with my kids when they were younger. But during that break, I just always found myself coming back to business and being interested in that. I missed the fact that I do have a business degree from Michigan State. So I started in that realm of things. So I kind of just found my way back to it. And, I still have a love of both, but it's been great careers both ways.
Well, and I told Sara before we started recording that my intent to have her on here is to tell her true north story, to talk about the moment when she made that decision to leave the school as a school counselor and start this business with her partner. And I was in visiting with Sara because I had just gone through a pretty major personal pivot, and she was helping my children through this as well. And the gratitude I felt for her to help me get through that. She's such a genuine, authentic leader, strong woman, just somebody I really admired. And I've really enjoyed watching the growth over the last few years of how you've developed the several products. I have I won't get into it yet, but it's like a surprise. You'll have to reveal the products here in a minute. But I'm really excited for her because to be an entrepreneur starts with a spark. And that's what I wanted you to talk about is what is that spark? What happened? Where did you get this idea?
Sure. So, for me, our business is in the fashion world. And even as a little kid, I can remember having a class in middle school, and it was kind of a business type class, and you had to pick what you were doing. So mine was opening a store and sourcing the products and allowing people to come in and shop and that kind of thing. So that kind of was always an interest of mine. So my first foray into business on my own was with footwear. I'd broken my foot and I wanted to keep wearing shoes that were cute, but also comfortable. So I was kind of working on that concept. Meanwhile, a friend of mine had this idea about making a galosh for women to wear over high heels because she is from the South. She's tired of dressing around the weather in Michigan for months on end. So we kind of came together since I had a little bit of knowledge in the footwear world, at least enough to be a little bit dangerous. And she had this amazing idea. So we came together and it just felt, sometimes it's hard to say like where that spark came from, but I think you just feel it. I just knew in my heart that it felt right. And, one of the names that I'd come up with for my footwear business was Patten. And come to find out, Patten means protective shoe cover. And she said,
Oh,
I want to make a galosh. And I said, I already have the name. I mean, it felt a little serendipitous and kind of had to go with my gut on that one. So
yeah,
that's really kind of how that started. And that was about 4 years ago.
that's really incredible. And I know that you have one of those in front of you. So let's show that.
Okay, so this is what we call the Patten. You could kind of think of it as the galosh reimagined. And the way it works is that it's hollow inside. And you can fit, hold on, it's all twisted. You can fit any type of high heel inside. So this might be hard to see, but you could fit a wedge heel, a stiletto, a bootie, and it's very flexible. You can kind of fold it up. It comes with its own little carrying tote. So if you are stuck in a rainy day and you have great heels on, it's kind of like bringing your umbrella with you. It's just one thing that you can just throw on and you're good to go, whatever the weather.
Yeah, and they are stylish and easy to wear and easy to carry around. I love the little tote. So
Thank
you
you.
also did it's an umbrella that I know that they manufacture for other companies, but you have a patent color, like the color scheme, the brand that goes with this is beautiful. Talk
Thank
about
you.
that process.
So when we got together, we had the idea for the galosh, but we had no idea how to start, no idea how to make it. We're not designers. We are not manufacturers. We just are two ladies who like fashion and had an idea. And maybe we're crazy enough to kind of go after it. So while we were working on that and trying to figure that out, we just decided to create a few other weather related products that we could kind of sell in the meantime, get our feet wet a little bit, no pun intended, and figure out how to get to the next step. So we don't really do or have those products anymore, but they were definitely great to get us started and help us figure out sourcing, shipping internationally, setting up our website, all those sorts of things that you need to learn as you go.
Very cool. And so how did you first find these manufacturers to help you get through that?
You know, initially we just kind of did internet searches, but we were so lucky to find a woman who was just starting her own business, and she really was looking to help people like us connect with factories. She owned her own factory overseas, and so she had the knowledge. She could communicate really well with the factory. She understood all the ins and outs. So we just happened to be her first client. So she really took us to the next level and helped us sort that out. So
That's,
that's some luck right there.
yeah. And what kinds of, you got this started, what was it, was it 2019 when you first started, you did a Kickstarter campaign, didn't you?
Yeah, so we did that just about a year ago. It was November of 2019.
Okay.
And
And
the
so
way
right as things were being delivered, it was like COVID hit, correct?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Such is the life of an entrepreneur, right? You never know
It,
what's going to happen. It's the total roller coaster. So,
it, it is, it is. And I know that in that time, well, let's talk about your partner. Because I think that's it. Partnerships are something that we as entrepreneurs tend to come into. There are opportunities for us to not feel like we're on an island. So
right.
sometimes we look for a partner to share the responsibility,
Yeah.
also to augment any natural talents or skills that we have. And then there are also there's the growth alongside each other, just like any, a marriage, any relationship. Um, and then your business partners who have their own families, and now she has moved,
Right.
and you're working remotely together. So just talk about that partnership journey, how she came into your life and how you guys are navigating this together.
You know, we've been so fortunate. It's just, again, kind of feels like one of those situations that was meant to be. We really didn't know each other that well when this started. She knew that I was working on that other footwear project, and she had this great idea. So she called me one day and basically said, "You're going to think I'm crazy, but I have this idea." And I said, as I said, "Oh my gosh, I already have the name. It sounds amazing. We got to do this." So since then, we've learned a lot about each other, a lot about ourselves in the process. And I think that we do have a lot of different skill sets that really complement each other. I'd say she's probably more of the risk taker in the situation, and I'm more of the nervous Nelly. I hate to say that, but probably the one who's a little more conscientious about the bottom line and that sort of thing. And that served us well in both instances because she's pushed the envelope a little bit. And I always say I like to seal it up, make sure we
Mhm.
lock it up tight. So we've just been really lucky. We have a really good friendship. We have a lot of fun together, but I think we also really challenge each other, and that's really made us each grow more than we would have ever expected.
Now, is it just the two of you, or do you have other employees or contractors working with you?
So it's just the two of us. We do have a third partner who he and I were originally working on the footwear idea together. And he's kind of, he has his own business. He's kind of a serial entrepreneur. So he gives us great advice and just encourages us along the way. But beyond that, we do have a number of different freelancers we've worked with, and but no direct employees, mainly
Okay.
all freelancers.
Are
Yeah.
you still working on that other product, the
Which
where you first started, um, with that other partner?
Oh, the other footwear. No, no, that market's pretty saturated with comfortable, cute footwear. That was really growing at that time. And that
Mhm.
just felt really hard to break into. Whereas this is such a niche, there's just really nothing like it on the
Mhm.
market. So we're really focused on this.
Now, I know it's called patent, but do you have a patent pending, or are you going through that entire process as well?
Yes, so we do have a patent pending in the US, but we actually have patents secured in the UK and in Britain or Brit
Wow. Amazing.
EU. I'm sorry. Yeah.
The
So
EU. Yeah, okay.
yeah, so that was a much easier process, believe it or not, than getting a patent in the US. That's
Yeah,
been a
well, I
very
believe
long, drawn out situation.
yeah, we tend to overcomplicate things sometimes.
A little bit. Yeah, so that's been in the works for like a year and a half. So we're hopeful on that too.
Oh, good. Well, and you're right, there is nothing like it. So I don't know what goes into all the checks and balances in that process, but I
Yeah.
know that it is really complicated, but it'll be something to really celebrate when it comes through.
That's
So
right.
you really have gone global. How are now talk about what's the reality right now? We're in COVID,
Right.
and we talked about this before recording, that we're
Mhm.
in our yoga pants 80%
Right.
of the time. We're not
Right.
going out to the parties and wearing the heels and things like that. But what are you seeing? How has that affected you?
Well, it's definitely affected us for the exact reason that you said, that people are at home, they're wearing comfortable footwear, they're not wearing their heels, they're not attending events. So our product really focuses around those type of situations, or even just commuting to work. And so there's a lot of that that's not happening.
Hmm.
However, that said, I think that we're reaching a point where people are ready to get back to some sort of normalcy. People are ready to have celebrations again. We may not be there right now, but that doesn't mean you can't go out to dinner with a spouse or go have a fun evening somewhere and still put your high heels on and go in the rain and the snow and have our product. So I'm hopeful that people might buy it to say, you know what, this is going to come back. We will have some normalcy, hopefully sooner rather than later.
Yeah. And that's very true. I mean, even going out for casual dinner with jeans, and a tunic, yeah, throw on your heels. And I don't mean to make light of um, where we're at right now, but I too, like, I'm a foodie. I like to get out. I do make my reservations. I am careful. We're wearing our masks, I
Absolutely.
make sure that we're not in a crowded restaurant, but I need to get out of the house. So, and I
Yeah,
do take pride in how I look and want to make sure that, the romance doesn't die and that I still get
right.
to see my friends. So,
Absolutely.
um, and hey, we're in Michigan most of the time. I'm not there right now. I'm in South Carolina visiting my parents, but winter is coming, and I hope that everybody, I mean, you're a year from that Kickstarter campaign,
Mhm.
and here you are, you've survived a pandemic. Like, girl, you are doing it.
We're
This is
trying.
amazing.
We're trying. It's been
Yeah.
really great because, we've had the product out for a while, and I kid you not, we have not had one return. People tell us it's a game changer. It's so easy to use. They love it. They want to wear it without high heels, which isn't recommended, but yeah, just such good feedback. So that encourages us to continue on, even though it's been more challenging.
Well, I can speak from my own entrepreneurial experience that it takes time for things to catch on, and for it's the word of mouth marketing. It's
Right?
just the tenacity that entrepreneurs must have to
Mm.
get past the humps, to not give up on your dream. Everything's possible. Now, if the market's speaking to you somehow and saying, we don't love it, you've made a horrible product, you
Right.
do have to go back to the drawing board. But
Sure.
like you said, that's not the feedback you're getting. And it is an incredible product. And you have such a niche. So you're doing an amazing thing. And for a year out with everything going on and we're having this interview, you're doing great.
Thank you. I'll take that. But I think exactly what you said, having tenacity and perseverance, because it just doesn't happen overnight and you
Hmm.
think it will. But this is a product people haven't used in 50, 60 years, women. So
Hmm.
it's going to take a minute to wrap your head around the fact that you can do life easier. You can do bad weather days better. But it's
Hmm.
just not in our frame of mind right now. So I appreciate you saying that because it takes time.
Yeah. Well, and I'm thinking about all of the things you've had to figure out in this time from supply chain, manufacturing, costing,
Hmm.
sourcing all the materials. Can you
Yeah.
talk a little bit? I know you had that consultant that you're working with to help with some of that,
Hmm.
but where does everything come from? How are you sourcing the materials? How does it all come together? Where is it being manufactured? How long does it take to get back here? Where are you selling it? Are you in boutiques? What's your business model?
So that was a lot of questions in one. So let me do the best that I can. So we are manufacturing overseas, and our factory is sourcing all the material for us, the raw material. We don't have to go out and do that. The consultant we work with has been really instrumental in helping us manage the supply chain. But we also are working with Peckham, which is in
Oh,
Lansing, and this is a tremendous, tremendous organization. They do huge government contracts, managing logistics and supply chain. So they take on other small businesses for more of their community endeavors. And they employ a lot of people with special needs. So they're giving jobs to people in our community. They're helping support small business, and they're able to do that with the huge contracts that they have. So that has been like a total game changer for us in terms of managing, the shipments that come in for us and getting orders out. So they've been a huge partner for us too.
now are all the order, and Peckham is great. I have to second that. They're an incredible, I would call them almost a small giant where they are really into the community and they give so much back.
Yeah.
I love their business model of helping
Right.
those who couldn't get jobs elsewhere.
Right.
Um, so, are you doing all e-commerce or are you in boutiques? How can we find your product?
So we are mainly all direct to consumer right now through our website. We'll probably have an Amazon store because Amazon is another giant, right?
Hmm.
Boutiques, we have a few, but mainly we're really focused on the direct to consumer piece, kind of given the situation that we're in right now with
Right.
COVID and people not doing as much shopping. However, we'd love to be in more boutiques and kind of pursue that avenue as well.
Right. Well, Amazon gets a bad rep, I think, sometimes where, oh, they're this giant and they're taking over everything. What they've done is create an infrastructure that
Hmm.
people can be a part of. The database is there.
Yeah,
Um, they've got the fulfillment figured out. It's
right.
really important for small businesses to
Hmm.
align with that. If you still have healthy margins and you can still be profitable and
Right.
utilize the system that's already built, because to build something like that from scratch,
Hmm.
not just the technology piece of it,
Right.
but the shipping and all, I mean, just all the details. We press and we say buy and it shows up the next day.
Pretty
Yes, it's
unbelievable.
convenient, but there's a lot that goes into making that happen that we
Right.
need to pause and think about. That Amazon is a big brand, but Amazon's not the only one pocketing from this. The small businesses who are using it, just like you would with Etsy,
Right.
or
Right. That's it.
eBay or whatever. So,
Right. No,
yeah, I'm glad you're taking advantage of that.
yeah.
So, if you were going to give any advice to an entrepreneur looking to make a big pivot, what do you think you would say?
I think I would say you just kind of have to leave your fear at the door. That's one piece of my growth, I think, has been moving beyond fear and just going with your gut and listening and staying the course because there's a million reasons not to do something, but there's one really big one to do it, and that's for your own fulfillment and feeling of self-worth. And you can't ignore that. I think you just kind of have to take the leap and the rest of it will fall into place. You're not going to be able to plan the next 200 steps, but you can plan step one. So just start there, and it doesn't have to be perfect.
I think that's great advice, especially coming from the non-risk taker in you.
A pretty big one now. It's getting crazy.
Yeah, yeah. Well, what can our network do to support you? What are you looking for? What's next?
Well, thank you for asking that. And I think, like you said, the word of mouth thing is so key. And taking the time to understand this product and how it can benefit women who like to get dressed up and who wear high heels, and how this really can enhance their daily day-to-day life and make life a little bit easier. I feel like I'm always one of those people that's looking for the way to be more efficient or just make something more organized or a little cleaner. And this product is one of those things. You just always have it with you, and it makes life a little bit easier. So spreading the word about that. And of course, we'd love for anyone to buy a pair. That would be excellent. And we'd love to offer your network a discount too.
Oh, okay. Well, we will be sure to get those details and plug them in our social media feed and in the description on the YouTube video for sure. So thank you for offering that. Well, we will also keep you in mind for gifts. You know, the holidays are coming up, and I
Yes.
think that while footwear is a um, personal fashion statement, all of these pieces are the same. We just have to find the right size.
Yep.
So it takes some of the guesswork out, and I think it's a wonderful gift.
It
It's
would be
really, really
the woman who
good.
has everything. No one
Yeah,
has this. So this is a good one for sure.
absolutely. Well, Sara, thank you so much. I'm sending you so much love and gratitude
Yeah.
and energy
Right
through
back
this
at
and
you.
all the times. You're doing fantastic. I'm really, really happy and proud of you too.
Aw, thanks, Rochelle. You're doing pretty awesome things all on your own too. So
Well, thank you. Thanks
thank
again.
you. All right, take care.